This is the Coronavirus Global Update on Friday the 28th of May. Hello, I'm Oliver Conway. Doctors and scientists from around the world are being asked to work together to combat future pandemics. Scientists have developed a computer program that can identify COVID-19 from just the sound of a cough. And Japan extends its coronavirus emergency less than 2 months before the Tokyo Olympics. Countries from around the world are being urged to join a global research collaboration into future pandemics, led by Britain's Oxford University. Its Vice-Chancellor, Louise Richardson, said she hoped the world would never again be caught unprepared as it was with the coronavirus.
This is going to be truly global. The reason we were able to move as quickly as we could last year was precisely because we had decades of collaboration with colleagues in Kenya and Thailand and Vietnam and so on. So our plan now is to support a unique network of 7 global sites focusing on emerging infections.
The global vaccine sharing program COVAX says it needs an additional $2 billion over the next week to ensure it has enough doses to carry on into early 2022. COVAX says the 1.3 billion jabs already secured are only enough to protect the most at-risk populations in poorer countries, such as health workers and people with underlying conditions, as well as the elderly. The authorities in the Indian capital, Delhi, say they're planning to gradually lift lockdown restrictions from next week, following a sharp drop in the number of new infections. In the latest 24-hour period, Delhi registered 1,100 new cases. The city had been struggling from a second wave with more than 25,000 daily cases a month ago. Meanwhile, Malaysia has recorded a record daily number of new COVID cases. Almost 8,300 infections were logged on Friday, the 4th day in a row that a new high has been reached. Hospitals say they are struggling to store dead bodies because their morgues are full. Regulators have approved Johnson & Johnson's single-shot coronavirus vaccine for use in the UK. The jab will be the 4th to be used here. The British government says the new vaccine will play an important role as health officials consider booster programmes later in the year. But our health correspondent Fergus Walsh says there are some concerns.
Around 20 million doses will become available in the second half of the year, but the body that advises on who gets what hasn't decided yet who should get it. That's because there have been links between this vaccine and a very rare clotting condition in younger people.
Artificial intelligence is being used to detect COVID-19 by the sound of a cough. The computer software developed in the UK was found to be 98% accurate in identifying who had the infection. The details from our science correspondent, Richard Westcott.
By comparing the recorded coughs of more than 8,000 people in hospitals across Mexico and Spain, scientists at the University of Essex have developed a computer program that can accurately hear signs of infection. They're developing an app that could work as a preliminary check. Just cough into your phone and await the result. Anyone coming up positive would then be asked to take a laboratory PCR test to be certain.
A Spanish indoor test event for almost 500 people in Barcelona last December has reported no cases of virus transmission. Everyone who attended the concert was given a lateral flow test before and afterwards. They wore high-grade masks and ventilation at the venue was enhanced. The same team held another test event in March with 5,000 people and came to the same conclusion. The Japanese Prime Minister has announced the extension of a state of emergency in Tokyo and several other areas. The measures, including closing bars and banning alcohol in restaurants, will stay in place until June the 20th, just a month before the Olympics are due to start. Medical experts say the daily infection rate needs to fall below 100 in Tokyo to safely host the Games. Alex Capstick reports now on a news conference by the president of the Games organising committee, Seiko Hashimoto.
This extension was expected because Japan is struggling to contain this third wave that's happening in the country right now. Ms. Hashimoto said that despite that, they would continue with their plans. She denied that they were under pressure from the International Olympic Committee to put on the Games. There has been speculation that Japan would have to pay billions of dollars in compensation if it cancels. She denied that there was any pressure from the IOC and that they were going ahead with their plans to put the Games on as safely as possible.
Russia has reportedly registered the world's first vaccine for animals against COVID. Tests showed the vaccine, called Carnivac-Cov, generated antibodies against the virus in dogs, cats, foxes and mink. Finally, California has become the latest state in the US to offer a special lottery to encourage people to get the coronavirus vaccine, with the highest single prize $1.5 million. In all, a total of $117 million will be given away in prize money, in the hope that millions more people will volunteer to be vaccinated before California fully reopens next month. And that's the latest Coronavirus Global Update.